Welcome to Talk Oxford, the show which gets you talking. I'm Eve Ahmed. Today on Talk Oxford, we're going to be chatting about community-led learning, and I'm joined by two representatives of the First Step Forward Learning Hub in Cholsey, near Wallingford. That's Poppy Hunt and Stephanie Simons, who are both community champions, as well as Sue Funge, who's a community development manager. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Stephanie, should we start with you first? What is the First Step Learning Hub all about?
We wanted to bring some courses to Cholsey for people that don't get out of a house, and we just wanted to bring some courses to Cholsey to get more involved with the community, and just bring other.
What sort of people is it aimed at?
Any ages, male, females, we ain't bothered. We just want to put something into Cholsey to help people, and bring other courses into Cholsey. So
I think you started the initiative, didn't you, Sue? What's the aim of it?
Well, I suppose it was the experience that both Poppy and Steph took part in a confidence building course, and we had a lovely time on that course, didn't we? And they so enjoyed having learning provided in their local community. I'd asked them, do you fancy becoming community champions and promoting learning for other people in the village? And both of them said yes. And they came up with the name, the First Step Forward Learning Hub, because you both felt it represented your first step forward into learning, and they designed the logo, and that's the root of it. So I continue to support them.
What sort of courses do you run, and how did you find out what courses people would be interested in?
Well, when we first kind of talked about what we were going to do, we organised a launch day at the Cholsey Pavilion, and we just invited people to come along and let us know what they were interested in getting into the community. A lot of them were interested in the course that we had done because they could see how much it had helped us.
What, the confidence building?
Yes, the Know Me one that Sue presents, and it's definitely a kind of there's still interest for more, so we're hoping to do a second run of that. We also had interest in people being able to help their children with their homework, so we've got keeping up with your children, maths and English, and then we had an introduction to adult social care, which was very informative for people, especially for me. We've also had what other ones have we had?
Food hygiene.
The food hygiene that everyone that took that passed, which was great. We've got kind of more courses coming in the future. We've got a photography course, hopefully, and we've just had a dyslexia workshop with a local lady that was very popular. We're hoping to kind of bring more things in for parents to support their children, and also things down the health and fitness route, and kind of things like eating on a budget, stuff that people kind of need that they can't really access anywhere else. We've had an IT for beginners course that both Steph and I started, and it's just finished its second term, and we've got another term in March, and then we're planning an actual accredited course where we can get a qualification at the end of it. So yeah, it's just kind of getting the feelers out and finding out what people want in the village, really.
But why can't people go to, I don't know, the local, adult education centre in Wallingford, for example, Stephanie, and do a course there? Why do you bring the courses to the community itself?
because some of the people in Cholsey can't drive or are isolated, and we try to make friends with them and say, come along, even if you don't enjoy it for the first time, come along and see what we're about first, and then see what other courses we can get you into.
Did you identify that there was a need within certain communities that maybe, where people weren't able to drive, for example, or maybe they didn't have childcare and they couldn't get out in the evenings, where this sort of approach would work much better?
Yes, and in fact the area was identified through the area partnership that I also had set up in the Southern Vale. So I'd met Jackie Logan from Sohar Housing, and she actually knew a couple of the workers in Cholsey, and that's how we actually ended up going there. So the area partnership identifies areas within South and the Vale in Oxfordshire, areas that people might feel isolated. They may have mental health issues around depression, anxiety and so on. So bringing courses to them helps them to re-engage with their community and begin to blossom.
And who's it funded by? Because presumably all of this costs money.
Well, we've had some funding from Soho Housing, and Aberdeen and Whitney provide some of the tutors, but we've set ourselves up as a constituted community group so we can actually kind of do fundraising. We've had a lot of support from the local community groups, so there's Chelsea 1000 Plus who gave us some funding, and they've been wonderful. They're on our management committee. We've also got the Parish Council in Chelsea who have been a huge support. There's St Mary's Church and who am I missing?
Happy Hub?
Oh yes, the Happy Hub, which I mentioned, which is set up by the Parish Council, which is kind of a model for them to help with the children's centres closing. They're kind of showing how the local councils can keep things going. So we're kind of connecting with them, and we're just kind of trying to bring all the different groups together if we can, and kind of
the school actually.
Oh yes, in the primary school where we've had the Maths and English held, and the Chelsea Community Development Trust, who are based up at the Chelsea Meadows estate, because a lot of people are very isolated up there, because it's, even though it's part of Chelsea, it's still kind of separate. So it's nice to be able to put things on there for people that can't kind of get into the rest of the village.
And are you both Chelsea born and bred?
Oh,
No.
no.
I came from Kidlington area.
Yes, and I was born from Didcot originally. Then I was in a little village called Checkenden, which is on the way to Reading, and then I've kind of moved all over and ended up back in Chelsea. I've been there 6 years now.
Okay.
But I mean, for me, I used to struggle to leave the house, and it was doing this very first course that kind of started to get me out and about, and the kind of the change in me since starting all this to now doing this, it's quite remarkable. So I feel, you know, if it can help us this much, then we can help other people to feel just as empowered, really.
Yeah. And is it maybe something to do with, you know, if you having a baby and you sort of lose confidence in a way, if you don't have a lot of support around you?
I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good support network, which a lot of people don't, and just kind of trying to find out where that support is, really, and being able to kind of help people to know who's there to support them for different areas, and it's exciting to be able to kind of use our experiences to help others, and kind of go you know, just kind of, I don't know how to explain it really, but it's just to help people empower themselves, because people don't like to be told, well, you need to do this, and sometimes it's hard for them to go into a college setting, especially if they haven't had a good experience at school, or they haven't gone into higher education at any time, and then coming back into it after you've had children, or when you don't really know anyone, can be a scary process, really. So, you know, we kind of give people that first little taster, and then if they kind of want to go on, then we know who to kind of point them towards. And
what have you got from it, Stephanie? Has it helped with your confidence? I mean, you seem like a really confident person anyway. So. Or is it things like, I don't know, organising, you know, coming up with ideas and putting all these things in place?
I think it's just using my brain, because when you're a parent, you use your brain by taking kids to school and picking them up and stuff. But when you're doing things for adults, it's making your brain work more than when you've just got kids.
And what's the reaction been like from people in Chelsea? Have they generally
they
been
liked
really
it.
welcoming?
Yes, we've got there's quite a few of our members now who think it's amazing what we're doing, and you know, for them, they said coming along to a particular course and having that hour where they're not mum, where they can actually just be them again, is really just that little amount of time can make such a difference to them. And you know, we kind of there's lots of like online things where you can do free courses that a lot of them have been interested in, and it's just kind of you know, they're a lot of them, like the introduction to adult social care, people have gone along, including myself, not really knowing what the course was about, and then finding out that there's actually so many roles that it involves, and myself and another lady, it kind of pointed us in the right direction of what we want to do. So we're kind of keen to get more taster things in for people, and then we can kind of look at doing longer courses and courses where you can get an actual qualification at the end of it. So far we've got the food hygiene's a proper qualification, and the IT we're hoping to have one. But you know, it's just good to be able to give people tools they can use for themselves. You know, even if they don't want to go on to college or somewhere, it's just kind of nice to feel like you can be part of something, I think.
'Cause I always have the impression of Wallingford as being, you know, like quite a prosperous, sort of middle class, whatever, you know, quite privileged area. But I suppose everywhere there are pockets of, you know, places where people do feel a bit left out,
Definitely.
or, you know, a bit not part of the mainstream. But how do you go about identifying, Sue, which are the areas? I mean, is this the first one of many, hopefully?
Well, hopefully it is the first one of many. So far we have one more, which again was identified through the area partnership, and that's based in South Abingdon, which has been an area that's been quite sort of depressed since the car factory closed down a fair number of years ago. And that was working with another housing association, Sovereign Housing. And the group of community champions have set up their learning hub. They're behind in terms of setup. They've only just had their inaugural meeting to adopt the constitution, but they chose to call theirs Inspiring Minds, and they have the logo of a butterfly that represents change and development, I suppose, really. So yes, we're hoping that they'll become connected through the county. But South Abingdon was an area that was again identified through the area partnership. But really in the Southern Vale it can be hard to reach the people we want to reach. So we were very lucky that we were able to make the connection with Cholsey through Jackie, because not everyone is wealthy living in the areas, and it can make you feel more isolated and more alone for that very reason. So that's working in partnership with other agencies helps us identify those areas.
Okay, it's obviously a brilliant project, so where do you see it going?
Well, we're hoping in the future to be able to be mentors for people that are struggling with things like depression and anxiety. We're kind of building on our own experiences, and we've got training lined up to be able to kind of signpost people to the right agencies that can help them. I mean, Oxfordshire's great for the support you can get, but in our little area there doesn't really seem to be any kind of mental health support for people. There doesn't seem to be a lot of support for people that are just kind of off the radar, really. So it'd be nice to be able for people to know that they can come to us to ask us questions, and kind of to kind of go on their own journeys like we have, really. And I mean, where we're connecting with the Wallingford Children's Centre, which is hopefully going to be taken over by the local council. They've seen what's happening in Cholsey with the Happy Hub Children's Centre and how well it's going, and they'd like us to be part of putting on courses there. I know from the meetings and that we've been to, there's not going to really be any mental health support based in Wallingford. It will be referred through to Didcot. So it would be nice if we're able to kind of be that stopgap for people, really, whilst they kind of find the right agencies to go to.
Yeah.
Is it very time consuming? Is it really just take up a lot of your hours organising all of this?
It does.
Yeah.
We have to try to work around it with the kids, and trying to make time with the kids, and trying to make time to do all the notes and paperwork and stuff, and ringing up Sue.
Yeah.
But we've also got more community champions coming on board, which because both Poppy and Steph have really, that first term was particularly hard work. We had a lot of courses going on, and you know, it's the nature of learning by doing, and I think we all appreciated at the end that was too much. But we've now got another 4 community champions that are willing to muck in and help out, because it's practical things like being there to welcome the tutor and open the building and offering teas and coffees and things like that. So,
and are the courses subsidised?
well, they're provided at the moment through Abingdon Whitney College, because that's the team I'm a part of, is the community-led learning team. So yes, they're free. We're hoping, that's the other thing that we've talked about, there are adults living in the Cholsey area and in the surrounding villages that don't have GCSE maths or English, or they didn't get high enough grades in their maths and English. So the other idea is that the more we can get the word out that we want to provide that in the village, then the Faculty of Maths and English at the college are willing to provide a tutor so that, you know, Maths and English GCSE can be offered in the community too. But it is time consuming, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it's very rewarding what we're doing, and having people come up to us. I mean, we can't go anywhere now without someone talking to us about it.
You're like celebrities.
Yeah, but it's nice that people can see, you know, how far it's come just in a few months and kind of where we want it to lead. And I think that's why people are so enthusiastic, because they know for us it's not just about putting on courses, that there's so much more.
We've made loads of new friends, haven't we?
Yes, and we've been, you know, getting involved with the community. I mean, we're doing a fundraiser for May Day up at the Chelsea Meadows with So Our Housing, which will be fun. And we were part of the Chelsea Parish Council do something called Fun in the Park every summer holidays for the kids for 2 weeks. And we were involved with doing the refreshments last year, and we're looking forward to being involved this year. So it's nice to be able to get more involved with the community, really, and you meet people that you wouldn't have met otherwise, really. And
is there a typical person who will do one of your courses, or can
No.
it be anyone?
Anyone.
Yeah, anyone.
Yeah,
We've got some people kind of like us that are mums and just kind of don't know what they're doing next in life.
Grandparents.
Grandparents. We've got some retired people that have joined, especially the IT course, and you know, and when they first came along, they were like, oh, we weren't sure, you know, if it was for us as well. And we're like, well, it's open to any age. So it's definitely kind of a whole range of people, really. And I mean, we've got some people that are kind of very settled in life and just want to learn a few new skills. And then there are others that are feeling quite restless and don't know what they want to do, and they're keen to kind of find out what's going on. So
It might even lead to a career for both of you. Do
Yeah,
you think you're going to go into...
well, I know for me, I'd like to be able to be, you know, with mental health support, which is something that I've had in the past, and I feel that it's important to use things you've been through to kind of support people.
And have your friends and family commented on how different you both seem?
Yeah. So we keep being told how proud people are of us, and you know, and they can't quite believe it. I know for me, my brother and my godmother are very proud that we've come to do this today, and they can't quite believe it. I don't think that
Well,
I've
the next
agreed.
step for you as well, Poppy, isn't it? The Recovery College would be interested in Poppy working alongside me to write, because she wants to go into that kind of career of supporting people with mental health issues. The Recovery College offer
I don't
courses.
know the Recovery College.
Oh, well, they're part of Restore, mental health projects based, well, they're now going out and about across the county. But yes, the idea is that you write a course alongside somebody that already has that experience. So I'd be the one with the experience of writing a course. Poppy would have the experience of being somebody that's accessed mental health services, and together putting a course together that then Poppy could be recruited as a Recovery College tutor, being paid £15 an hour to deliver the course, and it can be done in the local area. I mean, we've got to see if you want to take that forward, but that's one option that's come up through being involved with the First Step Forward Learning Hub.
So is that a model of how teaching or helping people is being done now? Talking to people who've actually had that issue, rather so that it's more inclusive, rather than, you know, talking down to somebody or pretending you're an expert or whatever.
Absolutely.
So
No,
what's that way of learning called then?
Well, I don't know what the Recovery College, but it would be what I'd call community-led learning, because community-led learning is about responding. I mean, the course that I came to Chelsea and delivered in the first place was actually developed through another project that I'd been involved in, which was part of a pilot, and that was actually following what I was told people wanted. And then, as I say, through SOHA, knowing the local residents in Chelsea that might benefit from that course, that's where we came out to see.
And do you think this sort of model could spread outside of Oxfordshire?
Well, it's interesting actually. The Learning and Work Institute, which is a national government agency, they've got a pilot going on that was happening in Rochdale. They're calling it a citizens curriculum, which is exactly this kind of model where the local community identify what learning they want in their community, and they're putting together a publication for the DFE to actually put forward this argument that if you give people ownership of learning in their community. It helps them develop their confidence. You know, they're more likely to go back into work and so on. So it benefits, it's kind of win-win. It benefits the individual, but it benefits the local community. And in Rochdale, they've done analysis. I mean, I haven't got the exact figures, but it's something like for every £1 put in for every learner, other services are saving £6.50. So if we can get that point,
other services,
well, like if they were accessing social services, or you know, maybe their children weren't attending school, so attendance officers were involved. The police might be involved in antisocial behaviour, mental health services. It could be in a whole heap of other agencies that might be called in.
So it's being proactive,
yes,
getting people involved so that they don't develop problems further down the line.
Because I mean, if you've had a bad experience of, well, not even to do with school necessarily, but for some of us, it's the school system that has left us feeling that we weren't very good at anything. And then, you know, you're possibly more vulnerable to either being in abusive relationships or turning to drugs and alcohol to feel better about yourself. And then you're in this kind of spiral of then other agencies are coming in and supposedly fixing you, but usually it's not really allowing you to recognise what was going on for you. So that's where the course that I delivered was about understanding you're the star. These things might have happened and you might have got a bit buried underneath it all, but you've still got that potential to be a success.
So in a way, is this a pilot?
Well, yes, it wasn't intended to be, but it could end up being, yes, because I think it's demonstrating the difference it can make. And, you know, I think it's a way of giving people back some say in their own community, which is what it's about, really.
And you said it's a constituted.
Yes, we became a
Hub or-
constituted community group.
Yeah, what does that mean, constituted?
Well, it basically means that we're a group in our own right, so we're able to apply for funding from different agencies. We have our own kind of guidelines in place. Anyone that joins one of our courses, we give them a membership form for the first step forward, and they become one of our members, and they're kind of covered under our guidelines. And it just kind of gives everyone a say in what we're doing, really. I suppose a bit like when companies give up shares to their customers. So it's something that we want people that come along to know that they can be part of, and it's not just a case.
Got to say.
Yes, definitely a voice in what courses we get, you know.
And the management committee is made up of people who all support this initiative. So, it, like Poppy was saying, the parish council, the local school, church, other charities in the area, the housing association. It's all to make sure it's sustainable, irregardless of whether funding changes, you know.
That's what I was going to say next, because, you know, you are sort of reliant upon goodwill or funding, I guess. So does it make it feel quite precarious, or are you confident that it's going to...
I think the support we've received, I mean, our local councillor, Mark Gray, he can see the potential, and, you know, and he's been kind of the one pushing the whole Happy Hub and getting all that started. So he has such wise words of advice, really, and how to do it. There's a lady called Monica Brown, who's like a support worker in Cholsey, who's kind of given us a lot of help and support, and she can kind of see where it's leading as well. So I think Cholsey have got quite excited about it, and I mean we can't really go anywhere without someone saying, oh, we've heard about this. And
sorry to interrupt, but how can we're just coming to the end of the show now, but how can people find out more if they want to get involved?
We've got a Facebook thing, haven't we?
Yes.
First Step Forward Learning Hub.
Yep.
Right.
You can find us on that.
We have our emails, the firststepforward@hotmail.com.
Yep.
So yeah, anyone can contact us for more information.
Or just find us on Facebook.
Yes.
Right. Okay, well, thank you so much. That's really interesting. Thank you. That's all we've got time for today here on Talk Oxford. Thanks so much to my wonderful guests, Stephanie Simons and Poppy Hunt of the First Step Forward Learning Hub, as well as Sue Funge. I'll see you again soon, and in the meantime, remember, keep talking.